Hello and welcome everyone. And thank you for joining. I'm very pleased to teach this class today, and I would like to thank USF for this nice opportunity. So our dojo, as you see, is currently closed. This is why I'm teaching from home. We are here in Muenster in Germany, and we are a couple of hours ahead of you. You can see it's already dark outside and we need the lights on. Now in the following, I will start with warm-up exercises, and then I will continue with basic practice with the Jo. And for those who don't have a Jo, or if you don't have the space, just follow the class empty-handed. And for those who work with the weapon, keep in mind that the weapon is the extension of your hand anyway. Okay, let's get started. So we stay here, we stay in Tessa, and start loosening the muscles, the arms, the shoulders. Bring your hands together and work on the joints. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Now we stretch to the side and change. Go back. And we come forward so that you see better. I change the angle where we stretch the back, nicely stretch, and then we come forward and come back and forward and come back. Okay. Now we go up, stand on the feet, bring the elbows together. We bend forward and down, rotate. Now we go forward. I show it from this angle. I also have more space. Go forward and come back. We'll make a nice circle, move forward, and we come back. Move forward and come back. Now we stretch the legs, first to one side, to the other. We sit down and change. Now we come up, bring our elbows next to the knees and stretch. We come up nicely, let our spine hang, and we look over the shoulders. Now we bring our knees together, look nicely on the knees and rotate, change the orientation, come up and stretch, rotate arms and shoulders and change. Now opposite directions and change. Okay. Now we lower the center, spine still straight, hands together. And we rotate to one side, to the other, and up. Other side. Now we make a nice 8. And on both sides in one plane to the side and nicely stretch. And now we continue the big circle and change. Okay, hands, a nice circle, come up, breathe in, hold your breath, and breathe out. Okay, now we take the Jo, for those who have a Jo. And continue with a few more warm-up exercises. Also here you can make a nice circle. Now we change. Now we stretch forward and reach down, come up, reach forward and down, and come up. And one last time. Now we bring the Jo over our head, back to the shoulder. We have it nicely now in our arms. Now we rotate to one side and to the other, and back. All right. You see, I rotate. I start with palm up, rotate, grab the end so I can do a nice stretch, nice NICU stretch of my joint. And I change. Now I continue the rotation. So I grab the end, I rotate the hand, palm up, and I feed again the Jo into the open hand. Of course, this works both ways. I'll change directions. Okay. Now we are in right tummy. You rotate the end basically in two planes, right and left of us, coming from behind forward, and change the plane right, left. I'm sure you know the exercise. Now we change Hanmi and sides. And once again. Now we come to neutral stand. And I change now each time I change sides. I always change with palm up. So here, change. Okay, we go back to right hand knee. Now we can make some modifications to this movement. Show it from this angle. Bring the jaw up, rotate, and finish with a showman strike. Well, I can even modify this here. I change to the end, rotate, and strike. Well, there's one rotation more. That is the first one. And the second one. And now with a step. Now I step back. This would be a defense, for example, against Yokomen. So I step back, defend, and by the rotation, cut down the strike. And I come back with a showman strike. All right. Now my next exercise is an exercise where you can stand again in neutral stand. You strike from the side. And now you can go from Judan to Edan and to Jodan. And you can even combine it, as you see here, with a showman strike. So Judan, Edan, Jodan, and up. And showman. Now the next one, you stay in the same stand, neutral stand. We have the hand now on the jaw. I slide to the end. This comes to the shoulder, to the center. Again here, I bring the hand forward and I can strike, bring it forward over the hand, not fully to the end, but only that I can nicely grab the jaw and strike, because this allows to change sides each time I do this exercise. I show it from this side. So this goes to the shoulder, to the center, brings the end of the jaw forward in a strike, to this side. This side forward, over the head and strike. All right. You see the little nice clock here in the corner. It allows me to go to my next exercise. And my next exercise is a combination. So this sequence allows you to combine the ski attack with Yokomen and Jomen. And if you start in right and then with left hand, you can nicely practice this attacks on both sides. So I start with the ski. Show it from this side. Now I come to Yokomen. Ski and Yokomen. So we have ski. I avoid being attacked with the ski. I defend and strike Yokomen. Now the last attack would be showman in this sequence. And this is not a kata, this is only a sequence that allows you to combine ski, Yokomen with a showman strike. You know, to go to Kamai, come back now. I'm in the right hand me, as you see. Now I can do precisely the same sequence, but I can practice the opposite side. All right. I'm a little bit ahead, but that allows me to show it again. So slow, I bring the strike forward. Ski, I bring my weight back and defend. Go over the head, I rotate, come forward with a yokoman. So ski, yokoman, I withdraw, I change hands over the head and shomen. One last time. I give people a little time to practice. And I think before I hear the gong, I will come to the end of my class. I thank you all for joining. Thank you very much. I hope you had fun. And it's now my pleasure to introduce the next instructor. And the next instructor will be Lacorte Sensei, and he is in North Coast Aikikai. So I say goodbye at this point and thank you again.
Thank you, Bixel Sensei. That was the most beautiful warm-up and kata, so thank you very much. My name is Salvatore Lacorte with North Coast Aikikai. We're in Mentor, Ohio, which is very close to Cleveland, up by the lake. Today, we're going to work on three things: positioning, direction, and spacing for the hands. So Tai no Ichi for positioning, Hoko for direction, and spacing is Haikaku, which is going to be how far we put our hands. This is something that for beginners, that once you learn this, this is going to carry forward into all of your practice. So if you have a bokken or a jo, we want to just start out with a bokken or jo. And this is showing just positioning. So what I'm trying to show here today is positioning. So we'll be in Migi Hami, right Hami, and where to place the hand. The left hand is below the right hand with the heel towards the bottom of the bokken, and the right hand forward in this position. This is a basic hand position for not only to hold the bokken and working with the ken, but also for Aikido. So if we take away the bokken, we're going to have hand position is the same. So the right hand, if I move towards forward, you'll see that the right hand is slightly forward in the direction as if I was holding the bokken. We'll start out in right hami, migi hami. This makes it the easiest. Okay? And have your hands in this position. Okay? Now we're going to move with the hands down. As we do, we bring them down to the side. Okay? This position down here is also used as a blocking position when we're making our motions. Most of us already know this motion when we're doing our blocking exercise. But many times, your hand positions tend to change and alternate. The only time your hands alternate or change is if we back into or move forward into a different hami. So here I'm in Migi hami, you can see, and now into Hadarihani. Okay? If I move off to the side, you can see now my left hand is forward and the right hand is back. Okay? So this is the position we want to be in when we start out with Aikido. Okay? And we'll start a motion down as our hands come down. The fingers are going to curl back, and the thumbs are going to capture the hand, the fingers. As I come forward, move forward, the hands come back into position. As you can see here, there's a rocking motion. Beginners will tend to have their hands in all different directions and maybe even have their fingers open. You want to have your fingers closed, and of course your thumbs need to be close to your hand. Okay? In a closed hand top, not with your thumbs extended or your fingers. Have these enclosed. Okay? And as we roll these down, forward. And this is a great practice over and over so that you have the same position. Okay? Now, this pivot, now you're into left hami, Hadarihani, and continue. Okay, position. Focal direction. What direction? The direction for your hands are also going to move and determine which way you're going to move and how eventually the ukes are going to move. Right? So if I'm moving my hands forward, I'm going to move forward. So in this case, I'm going to move forward as I extend out into a tenkan. So for beginners, it's going to be that right foot, which is going to stay planted, and the left foot is going to draw a half circle around the back. So as I come forward, I'm going to step behind, and now I continue to be in right hami. Okay? Step forward with the left foot. Now I'm in left hami, Hadarihani. And again, as I do, my hand should have changed with my left hand forward along with the left foot. Now I'm going to draw half circle with the right foot and come around and tenkan back into Hadarihani. Okay? Next, I'm going to use uke to show these types of directions. Okay? So Dave, okay? So I'm in position. Okay? This position here, my hands are in our regular position that we started out. Okay, Taihaku. And I step forward and just turn. And you can see the difference in what the uke is doing, his elbows being exposed. And again, that's because I'm holding into the traditional position as if I had a bokken. Right? 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 So I'm holding in this position and bringing the uke around. Right? So this is hoku, direction. So let's try that again one more time. Okay? I'm going to move in position. Okay? And not rotate my hand at all. Keep it forward as if I'm holding to the bokken. Okay? And both sides. Okay? Back into hami. And again, work on this hand positioning that your hands aren't all over the place. A very common mistake is to leave one hand down. You see this a lot. You can't make your motion with one hand down. Okay? Both hands have to be in position to keep your ki together. Okay? The next motion or direction is going to be turning. I'm going to turn the hand in. What do I mean by that? With the bokken, as we turn the bokken in here for a motion to make a cut and to make a turn, okay? Very easy, very basic motion. Showing with the uke, what happens, now that I make my turn on my hand, my thumb is going to turn down towards the mat. And it's going to change how my uke's direction is going to be. So my hand is out in direction. Okay, thumb down, back of the hand is up. All right, we'll try both sides. Now that I have my hand up, rotating, I've changed the direction of where my uke is going to be moving, and moving him out. So, first position, very close, holding the uke. Second direction, hoku is out. I have him out in position. Right? Next direction is going to be tenkan, which you're very familiar with. Right? As I drop and come in, my hand is going to drop down, and we do our tenkan exercise as normal. This changes uke's direction again. All right? Here, as I drop down, hand is over, and now the uke's position and energy is down. All right? Next, what I'd like to demonstrate is hakaku, or spacing of the hands. I like to try using a ball, regular ball, gym ball, whatever you have, volleyball. This helps with keeping the spacing for your hand in the proper position. And again, as I change hami, I can rotate my hand, alternate in these positions. Right hami, migi hami. Okay? As I put the ball down, you can see again what we're after. I step forward as we switch. I step back. Keeping these in position is very, very important, especially when you're in motion. Okay? So next uke. Okay. I'm going to keep the hand now up and move in here as I come forward. The uke now collapses with the energy and for my motion. Okay? But as you notice, I don't do just one hand. Okay? Again, keeping your tai no ichi hand together. So if I had the bokken, right, and it was grabbed, my motion would be in this motion. Okay? 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 And then, of course, just stepping through this motion. Okay? So please try that on your own for a few seconds. Okay? Move into motion, both slide up and back, slide up and back, and then, of course, stepping. Okay. Now we'll combine this motion up, turning, and we would extend. Okay? Motion with the bokken would be a shomen. Okay? As I move forward, turn, and extend. Okay? When doing regular practice, try not to keep hands separated. This breaks up your power and your chi. Hands should be together. Okay? We motion forward. And in this case, we happen to tenkan and extending. Okay? And we could do both sides. Okay? Okay? Up, tenkan, and extend. Okay? Again. Okay? Tenkan, and extend. Okay? Okay, so that is the directions, 3 directions and motions that we're going to do today. If you have any questions, of course, you could always give us a call if you want, but I think we're pretty well finished for today. So remember the 3 things: Tai no Ichi, which is hand positioning; Hokko, which is going to be your direction; and Kankaku, which is going to be your spacing in between. I think our next instructor is going to be Hal Sensei. And I thank you very much.
Hello, everybody.
It's
good to see everyone. Okay. You know, we're all stuck in this COVID environment, and we're trying to find ways not to go mad and to continue practicing. So I thought it might be good if I reviewed some of the things the way we were taught in the very, very beginning, because sometimes things were analyzed in a way that I've been using. I'm stuck with it because it's how I learned, and it's very, very useful. So I'm going to talk just a little bit, and then we'll go into action. There's a condition to Aikido that we're looking for, and it has a lot of different facets. And each one of these facets is like another piece of the whole condition. The facets are, this is the way we were taught, be centered. Everybody knows that. Be centered. Extend without limit. In other words, let your energy go out, out, out. Don't be holding anything back. Weight is under. That was an interesting one. Weight is under, not up on top. And this is where your mind, where your awareness is. The weight is under, connected with your center, connected with the ground. To my mind, another translation of that might be aware of gravity. Feel the force of gravity. We're in it all the time, and when you throw, okay, actually it's gravity that throws it. Just get out of the way, and gravity throws it. And the last one, maybe the most important, summing up, is relax completely. Now, the idea is that if you do any one of these things completely, you're doing all of them. So, what I want to do, enough talking. Let's just do a basic Jo movement. By the way, I didn't want to teach any new movements. Everybody has Jo katas. Everybody has ways that they practice. This is not about that. This is about practicing itself, because if the goal is to perfect the movement, that's a limited goal. The goal is that the movement perfects you. So you have a way of examining the movement and of practicing that nourishes you. Okay, so let's just do this most basic movement. Gabi was doing it fantastically before. So let's work first, concentrate on weight is under, or gravity. So from here, really feel it drop. Feel it drop into the ground and then and let it drop. Feel gravity. Just concentrate on that aspect. It's mindfulness, and where do you direct your mind? Very simple. It's inside your body that you're paying attention to, the sensation of it. Feel it drop. See if you can let your shoulders go and everything go into it. Feel it in your feet. Feel the weight transferring in your feet. Feel the movement of the weight through your body as you switch. Where you have your weight in the technique is a great part of the throw. It's where you transfer the weight. That's the movement. It flows through your body from uke. Think of the jo as part of connected to uke. Keep your breathing relaxed. Feel the weight. Now, let's head the center. Feel the center, turning your hips to cause that movement to happen. That the movement is generated from your center and radiated out through your feet and your hands, but still feel the weight. Let's switch to the next jo movement. Here, and then the other side. Feel your center doing it. Center makes your arms move. Your center makes your arms move. Not your arms moving. Your center does it. Feel the weight of the jo, feel the gravity. Relax your breath. Hey. Hey. Now, as your center moves, it gets very easy to go quick because your center's doing it. Okay, so we've done weight, center. Okay, now let's just do exactly this last one. But this time, let's worry about extension. So you've had your weight in your feet, your center. And now feel the pattern of that jo in space. When you go here, you're actually leading uke behind you, comes around the other side. Feel this extension all the way to the tip. You're covering in your mind all of that space. From way back there, all the way to there. But be aware of this space behind you. So you're in the middle of this very big circle. Let's go back to the beginning again. Feel the weight. Do that twice. Center. Feel the extension spinning out from now. Okay, very good. I want to switch to another pattern now. Gabi did part of this before this one. Let's just do it just with the right hand and walk around with it. Now, when you do just with the wrist, don't need to move your body at all. As you get bigger, have your center opening up. As you get bigger, the wrist moves less and less and less. Bring it back down now. So the spiral gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then let it get bigger again. And feel how that changes from your center. Let's switch hands. Move around. I don't know, I feel guilty. Some of you don't have enough space, so be careful. And bring it smaller again. Now, relating this to technique, if you're doing a big Tenkan movement and then you go into an Ikkyo, it goes from a big spiral into a very small movement. So that's true of these techniques. You're going here, right? Your centers make a big movement, and then you can make very small movement. And you feel in your center the expansion, and then the gathering in the center. And then it can expand out. So practice again with the Joe. Just to feel it, not to do it, but to feel it. Experiment for yourself. Now, there's a wonderful thing about the Joe, which isn't true of the Boken. The Boken is very, very monolithic. It's your center, right? As soon as you touch the Joe, you feel it opening up all around you. That you're in the center of this movement. That switch from the focus to the open, that generates so much power in technique. Switching from here and suddenly Tenkan and opening, or going from Tenkan and opening right down to the focus. That movement in space causes the power, not your muscles. The expansion and then the, right? So when you're practicing with the Joe, you can keep all that in mind as you're practicing. It's not just about trying to do this technique. The other thing that's amazing about Aikido Joe is that we're not just striking and blocking. You're thrown when you do this. You're leading, okay. There has to be power to draw, just like rowing exercise. Okay, so let's do this then. This is from Koichi Tohei's second form. Cut. And you just swing once. You put it back. And you cut again. And up. Strike, and pull it right out. Put it back. And up. In the second form, this is just repeated over and over again in different positions. Feel the weight. Feel the shift of the weight in your feet. Feel your center into the movement. Your center causing it. Now feel the extension, the path that the Joe is making in space, that you're in the middle of. Feel it moving around you. Okay, very good. Now, I'm going to teach one more move just to add on, and then we're going to do something with it. You're doing this pattern. The Gabi did it in the beginning really well. You're doing this pattern. Now, you reach behind, and your hip makes the cut. Okay? So, let's see what angle's best. We'll do this one, same as you. Let's do it again. Now, you can be doing this continuously, and then at any moment when you're ready, you can pick it up. Experiment with that so that you feel free with it. Whenever you're ready, you do that. Okay. All right. So now let's go back to that first one. Actually, let's do this. We have this pattern going. Feel your weight shift. Now, experiment with this. Hold it very, very light. Just so, that's the other thing about the Boken versus the Jo. Boken does what you tell it. The Jo takes on a life of its own. I think sometimes on these where it spins around you, it's as if the Jo is your uke, and you're just making sure that you don't get hit. Make sure you get out of the way. But it has a life of its own and it has a momentum of its own, especially if you hold really lightly. Now, when you hold really lightly, you can go back to feeling the weight of it, feel the gravity, the weight of the Jo. Now, feel the shift of that weight through your body. Let it go. Stay relaxed. Now, feel how that's moving through your center. There's kind of harmony between the Jo and you. It's not just that you're controlling it. Now, what I'd like you to try is when you get here, do Tenkan. You do this as many times as you like, and then get out of the way. Let it be okay, and do the Tenkan. I'll do it from this side so you can see it right. This is moving. That's coming at me. That's the Tenkan. So that we're all alone in COVID. This gives you some partner to practice with. Okay? Practice that movement a little bit so that it's very, very easy. And get your Tenkan. Okay. Again. Don't control it. Move with it. Harmonize with it. Feel the freedom of the Jo. Now make a cut at the end. Okay? Really feel the weight of it. Feel it through your body. Harmonize with the whole thing. Okay. Just a little bit of a break. When I was talking about those principles, those are all inside yourself. Relax completely. Be centered. Feel gravity. And relax. Well, relax completely. Be centered. That's it. Okay, so those are the principles inside yourself. And then the last piece, which is what we're missing so much and what's so special about Aikido, is the harmony with the attacker. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Really don't control it. Let it live. And then when you cut here, just let it fall naturally. Feel the weight. Don't add any power. Just for the day, just for the exercise. So you're only harmonizing this. Once you do your Tenkan here, this is where rotatory Ikkyo will take. Feel the weight. Relax completely. If you're on something soft enough and nobody lives underneath you, it's not a bad idea to try this. When you get here, just drop it. You know, when you throw uke, you don't hold on to it. Okay? So if you don't drop it, even if you don't drop it, just don't add it. Just let it sink. You don't have to put power in. That's your power. This is the power of gravity. Okay? Just by itself. Okay. So let's just do that a few more times, then we're going to enhance it. You're going here, and just settle. Let your body settle. Don't make your body rigid, holding up against it. Relax completely. Really let the jaw live. Okay, now let's just add it. We'll turn it into Shihan. But again, don't impose on the jaw. When you do, to my mind, every Aikido technique is an unraveling of an attack, which is compressing, and we unravel it, open it up, and dissipate. Let's try to have that sensation with the jaw. So when we're going to do Tenkan, we're going to do a full Tenkan now for Shiho and cut in the new direction. But don't interfere with the jaw. See if you can live with it. When you throw uke and everything's perfect, uke doesn't even feel it. Be nice to the jaw. I'm going to drop it this time. That feels good. Okay, let's move on to one more. We have time, just enough time for one more. And that goes back to this one. Okay, in case you didn't recognize it, that is the same as Kaiten Nage. This is the head, this is the arm, that's the throat. Okay, just practice that for a minute. Get your center into it again. Let the jaw live. Try and have it moving on its own and don't get in its way. You're in a relationship with the jaw, you're not imposing. I'm repeating myself. Hey! Now, when you go to reach, generate it with your center. In other words, don't just reach with your arm, with your center. Make everything fit. Okay, so now we're doing it. There's only a little bit of time left. Now we're doing it stepping forward, out of it. Forward count. Do it again. Get your kaiten and it flows right out. Uke doesn't have to know what you did to it. Okay, now we'll get to the end. Step back. Watch one time. So now your cut is stepping back. It's very interesting. When you're stepping back, you don't want there to be the energy going back. So the way that you don't do that is that you're spinning. It's the circular movement to the front. The foot just lands at the end. You're not going to that foot, then it comes back. You just spin. Okay, so this is stepping back now. And it spins, and the power's still there in the extension. Feel your center relax. Feel the gravity. Feel your movement. I may go forward. My apologies. And now one more, because we're almost out of time. Go into Kaitanagi Ura. Again, letting this live. It's very easy to control and do that, but then you're not receiving. When you're a really great uke, you're listening, everybody understands this, you're listening very intently and you follow all the movement. As a Naga, you should have that same awareness of uke. You should follow everything, you should know. Okay, so from here, Tenkan. Okay? Hold it very, very lightly. Tempt it, maybe it's going to drop. Okay, sorry. Maybe you're going to actually drop it. Just let it flow. Okay, so let's review. And my intention here was not to teach these particular movements, but to give you different ways to practice the same thing. When we do Zazen, it couldn't be more boring. We do the same thing. You just sit and breathe, right? So it's the mindfulness. In Aikido, you have all these different ways to look at the kata, whatever kata you're doing, all these things to examine. When we were taught relax completely, they really meant it. We weren't even supposed to frown. We had to relax our faces and smile, okay? Let's just do this movement one more time, and I think we're about at the end of the session. Feel the gravity. Relax completely. Now feel your center making the cut, and the center makes the cut. Okay, now let's do the other movement. Make the cut, and this is uke, spinning around. Okay, let's do the Ikyomote. Do your Tenkan. Let's do Shihan. Let's do Kaitanagi. Stepping forward. Kaitanagi. Stepping back. Kaitanagi. Ura. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. In a second, I will turn it back over to Sharon. I want to just mention that tomorrow, you have to look it up on Facebook. I don't have all the details. Harvey Königsberg Sensei is doing a special fundraiser. And I think it's an hour and a half. Go on Facebook and take a look. And Sharon, do you have any announcements?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Gabi Sensei and Sal Sensei and Hal Sensei. Those classes were great. I just wanted to let you know next week is a kids class. We're going to have a 15-year-old and a 14-year-old teaching. And then on March 6th, we have Frank Wang from Sensei from Curacao, Ken Yamazaki and Kim Johnston senseis from New York East Aikikai. So thank you all for joining us. In a second, you can go off mute and thank everybody. Hal, would you like to bow us out?
Hey, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Hal.
you, Gabi. Thank you, Sal.